Welcome, NBA fans, to the Central Indiana Sports Report, and I guess at this point we should just say Pacers fans. When we started this a few weeks ago, it was with the mind that we needed to talk some NBA that wouldn't be the Pacers, but now we have it covered from two angles anyway, and it turned out great. We are here for the NBA Finals report with John Robertson, and we are joined by Michelle Garmon out here at beautiful Tipton Municipal Golf Course. People, if you haven't played it, get out here. And we're joined on the phone by our Pacers guy, Mike Rich, and Codey Emerson of the Greencastle Banner Graphic.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengelt.
Welcome, everybody. John, take it away.
Well, guys, it's been an exciting NBA playoffs. We are now in one of the most exciting NBA finals I've ever witnessed in my life. Pacers are tied 1-1, and I think we can all agree.
Second most so far.
I think we can all agree that was the best outcome we could have really hoped for before the start of it. After game one, I think we all got a little greedy and wanted game two, but Oklahoma is just too good of a team. So the first thing I think we should talk about is what's everybody's plans for this evening? Where are you going to be watching the game? Because it's an exciting time.
I'm going to be at home. I think my mom has enjoyed watching the game with me, and it's worked pretty well. And plus, if I'm at home, I can
doing it with family is the best way to do it.
Yeah, I can let out an occasional groan or a shout or something and not have to worry about it. But I will say this: it will be awful tempting to go somewhere or not to be in Indy. I don't want to be in the arena, but to even on the outskirts of a bar or something. Even like if they get when they get to that deciding if the Pacers
they're on
the
the verge
lead,
of winning a championship, I will be downtown. Until then, I will not be downtown for a Pacers game. And Mike Rich, we need to start. We should have asked this of Mike Rich first.
Yeah, where are you going to be, Mike?
Where are you going to be watching from?
So I will be in the beautiful confines of Camp Atterbury with some soldiers. We had an opportunity to have somebody get out, and I purchased a 43-inch flat screen smart TV to where we're able to stream the game. So there'll be probably 5 or 6 of us sitting in an office and trying to just sit back and relax and watch a good game. And after a long day, we'll be pretty busy today and working pretty hard. But to end the night with a Pacer game will just be super exciting. And I hope I can hear Indianapolis from good old Edinburgh, Indiana.
Let's hope that Camp Atterbury is not invaded while the Pacers game is going on, because then we're in big trouble.
We would be in a lot of trouble. There's a lot of air cover here. There's a lot of helicopters flying and going over us all the time. So yeah, it's I think we'll be all right. But no, just super excited about the game tonight. I think the Pacers are, like John said, they're in a good position. The best position we could have come out before the series started was a 1-1 out of Oklahoma.
Not the best. The second best.
Well, of course, yeah, the second. There's only 3 choices. So, but yeah, they
better than expected.
Come out there tied and have home court advantage. I think that's just really going to build the momentum. I think the game the other night they played, they were a little despondent. I think they just kind of shut down. They knew it wasn't their night, and but I think the energy is going to be a lot different tonight when they play here in Indianapolis.
Well, we have to give credit to Oklahoma City's defense. They played really well, right? Game 2, they played really well. But I think the other stat we have to look at is the Pacers' shooting percent, field goal percent, was very low. It was much lower than average. So, on an average shooting night, the Pacers are still in Game 2. So that's still, it's easy to get down on them for the way the game went because they lost by so much. But realistically, they have an average shooting night. They're right there, at least in it. They may not win.
As tempting, I'm kind of like with Greg and Michelle, as tempting as it is, for me to go to a watch party at game or in Indy or a bar or somewhere, I'm just going to sit in the friendly confines of my house with me, myself, and I, and my thoughts, and me yelling at the TV.
We're all old. Except for John.
No,
I'm old, but I'm just fighting through it.
But yeah, it's an exciting. The Pacers are hosting an NBA Finals game. I mean,
sometimes you just gotta be reminded of that.
Well, and John's got a young daughter that keeps him young. I mean, that does help when you have somebody that loves that and loves.
Sometimes you just gotta be reminded of that.
Well, and John's got a young daughter that keeps him young. I mean, that does help when you have somebody that loves that and loves to go with you to games and enjoys all that with you. It makes it easier to have that energy.
She is super excited, and she's excited that she's going to get a t-shirt that she can't wear because it's going to be way too big, but she's excited. For anybody who's interested, I checked ticket prices. 2 days ago they were $900, just $950 just to get in. Ticket prices are down in the $700 range, so and that's still really expensive. Let's be honest, that's very expensive. But
yeah, my friend or my coworker from Oklahoma City, we were kind of tweeting back and forth last night, and he said he saw that where ticket prices had dropped for game 3 and game 5, and he thought that was interesting. And he almost like $400. He thought that possibly at the door tomorrow night, because I told him they're too rich for me. He goes, you might be able to get it take it for $450 at the door tomorrow night.
It's because the people are, after the Pacers won game 1, I think people started to say, I want to be at game 6. Yeah, and they're saving their money for game 6. And so on that market, it went down a little. Cody, we haven't talked to you yet about the keys to the game. Let's get to that real fast. And we talked about this with everybody else on the Pacers report on Tuesday, but on Wednesday. But we haven't heard from you. How are you feeling about where the Pacers stand?
I'm feeling fine. The Pacers, I have faith in them to do what they have done since what? I think the date is like March 1st, March 10th, whatever the day is. They have not lost back-to-back games. And granted, they have not faced probably the Oklahoma City Thunder, but this team makes adjustments. Oklahoma City is a great team. In agreement with John, I think we kind of got maybe a little spoiled with the heroics of game 1 and thought we might be able to carry that momentum into game 2. Oklahoma City, there's a reason they have the MVP of the league, and there's a reason they were the top team in basketball pretty much all year. They respond very well, and they did that in game 2. So I expect the Pacers now. It's on them to make the adjustment. You're at home. No disrespect. Oklahoma City was, at least from television, it looked like a insane atmosphere. Gainbridge is going to be that way. I'd probably even a little better if I had to take a guess. So how does the Thunder adjust to being on the road? Pacers just have to shoot the ball better and not. What bugs me is I get the Pacers want to run. I get they want to play fast, and that's fine. But the quick, contested threes and some of the decisions that the Pacers were making in game 2 bugged me a little bit. It really did. It's like, I understand if you make it, it's obviously a great shot. But if you're taking a contested three, like 4, 5, 6 seconds into the shot clock or whatever it might be, it's like, work it around for a better shot. This team moves, I think, better than any team, moves off the ball better than anybody in the league. And you're going to probably get a better shot if you try and just work it around. So it's adjusting to the Thunder and their defense, which is it's historically great. When you look at all the advanced numbers and everything like that. But I think this Pacers offense is too good to be held down for multiple games in a row. So, and I trust Rick Carlisle, I trust his coaching staff, and overall, I trust the players.
Well, that leads me into the next question I wanted to add. To go to. I think that the most obvious answer that everybody can agree on is we want to see an aggressive Halliburton. We need to see Halliburton aggressive. We need to see him driving. We need to see him making good shots and not playing hero ball too early. That being said, what do you think? Which Pacer do you think needs to step up the most, Michelle, to make an impact? I know who you have the most beef with, but who do you think needs to step up the most in this next game?
Anyone on the text thread knows that.
Yeah, I like the guy. That's the problem.
Yes, we all do.
I have a problem, and the guy, Jim's innkeeper from Carmel, he did it. Reamer did a great thing. He said the agent is the lack of effort at times on Miles Turner.
Okay.
Miles Turner has to step up. If Miles Turner, he just has to want rebounds, and he's got to be strong when the ball hits his hands. I mean, I think he's, for as big as he is, I wonder, he just doesn't seem to have very strong hands. I mean, he gets it poked away and, has a hard time grabbing rebounds sometimes just right out of the air without bobbling him. He's got to come up big because, let's face it, the Thunder set the tone with Hartenstein and Holmgren, especially Holmgren in the last game. I mean, yeah, SGA came along late, but that wasn't who built that lead in the first half. And
one thing from Miles I liked, but it was too late in game 2, was he had that big monster dunk in the third or fourth quarter, and that could have been a huge momentum shift, but it was already too late.
Where is that early in games?
Yeah, so if he could, I would have loved to see Miles go for those aggressive, big.
It was one of those last, it never came. The voodoo never came.
Yeah, I that's my thing. If he can do that, like that, that's the first monster dunk I think he's had in the playoffs. And I'm sitting there going, especially against this tandem inside, you make a statement that way. He needs to come out and needs to think he's got to have one or two of those moments, because in Cambridge, you'll have them on their feet and it will be rocking and it will not let up.
Yeah, I was going to say that'll have a much bigger impact in Cambridge than it would in OKC. Who do you think we need to stop outside of SGA? Because SGA is the most obvious answer here. But who do you think we need to stop the most that we haven't stopped in Oklahoma City?
That's a tough one, because it's because Chet had a bad game 1, then he responded in game 2. Well, at least in the first half. I think he scored all but maybe 2 of his points in the first half or whatever. I still think it's hard, because Oklahoma City is very much like the Pacers. It's I don't think you can pick just one person. I will say it probably got to be Jalen Williams. He can extend the defense with his ability to shoot. He's a phenomenal.
And he hasn't had a great
defender.
game yet. I'm afraid of that.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm worried. It's he hasn't had a great game, and he's capable of it. And so I think I just don't see, also, and not to trash on, the Oklahoma City bench and their depth. I don't see Caruso going for 20 again. I don't see, what's the other kids?
Wiggins.
Yeah, Wiggins, thank you. Yeah, going for, I think he had 18. It's that's probably not going to happen again. And I feel like we say that we said that with Gary Trent in the Bucks series, but then I think he ended up a game like that. But the two that I'm worried about are Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren. If Chet really starts to feel himself and assert, he's a problem. He's a problem in the paint. The Pacers have not been able to really kind of just figure anything out. I think Chet and Jalen are the two that I'm trying to focus in on the Pacers.
Well, and I think the Pacers can't let themselves get so one-dimensional, because for the first quarter, all they made was corner threes. That was the only shots they made.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So they need to be a little more diverse in their attack to make Oklahoma City adjust.
What I didn't like, and I promise I'll let Michelle and everybody else talk, but this just was the one thing that bothered me, is they were continually getting mismatches with Siakam. Siakam has to finish those. If he's on a smaller guard, or I get it, they're great
True
defenders,
story.
but he has got to take advantage of that. We've seen it all postseason. He's been able to do it, and a Pacer who probably needs to step up is, I would put Siakam right at the top, along with Howard.
He's been our most consistent Pacer, though, all season.
Yeah, I think the one thing I would say about that is they got to do it. What's up, guys?
Yeah, I'll remind everybody right now that we're out at Tipton Municipal Golf Course. Thank you for everybody out here for allowing us to podcast from here.
And John Robertson, as the kids like to call him Rob, is a very popular teacher and one of the kids' favorites at Tipton. So if they're out here playing golf, he's going to get shout-outs.
That's right. Mike Rich?
I think it's not one player. I think it's just a battle of the benches. I think we can't let two bench players score over 15 points. And, with the offense that they have with Oklahoma starters, you got to shut down their bench. I think Nemhard has to have a big game defensively. I think Neesmith needs to hit the boards hard. But, I like our odds. I like our chances, and I like the adjustments that I think Carlisle's going to make. But, their bench outscored ours the other night by, 14, 15 points, which is really unusual. Wiggins and Caruso, they killed us.
And they got other guys, too, on that bench. Michelle, what are you going to be watching for tonight? Well,
I'm going to watch for the Pacers to just, like I said, pick up the effort defensively. I thought as opposed to the game one, Oklahoma City got some open, uncontested looks, but I thought they got a lot more in game two. It was like we didn't want to hustle to close out. And I think the only player that you really have to be really wary of closing out on kind of hard in some ways is SGA, because I think he can beat the hedge, he can beat the help. The other guys, they can, but they don't have that same quickness and, like I always call, slashing ability. And so I think we've got to do a better job of, if not closing out hard, at least making a presence with a hand up. I'd like to see more hands up on defense contesting outside shots.
If I were in the locker room with Rick, I would say don't let it get so deep in the shot clock. I think they need to attack early. They need to start playing
3.5 second possessions.
Maybe not. That's pretty fast. But
they had some against the Knicks.
They need to play faster. They need to try and get their shot early, because with the Oklahoma City defense as good as it is, if you wait until the last 5 seconds, you're going to be struggling to get a good shot. So that's my biggest thing I want to watch for, outside of drunks being violent and the crowd at Gainbridge and traffic. Yeah, I'm not worried about getting home safely. But as far as the game goes, I think it's the shot clock and not going so deep in.
So you're going to join us after the game while driving through that traffic with the drunks and join us with your commentary, or are you going to wait till our next NBA Finals report when we talk about all this?
You ought to call. You ought to have Kari do. She can join the podcast.
Well, we have hands free, so maybe.
Hey, Rob.
What's up? Hi, guys.
Popular.
Yeah, we have hands free. So once I get out of Ohio Street, maybe I'll call Glenn, but we'll see. I don't know. We'll see.
It depends on what happens, right?
Well, it's going to depend on how long it takes. Like I'm
not worth it if they lose.
I pride myself on being able to get out of Gainbridge faster than anyone, because I know I have the perfect parking spot and it's usually open. But like we're normally out and in the car and out of traffic in like 5 to 7 minutes. But I don't think it's going to be that tomorrow.
It's going to be double the traffic.
So we'll just have to see how it goes. Hopefully it's a win, and I'll try and call in later. I figure you guys will be going longer if it's a win, but we'll see what happens.
John, Michelle, Mike Rich, and Codey Emerson, thank you so much for your time, and we will be talking to all of you very soon, and especially you, Codey. We're going to be doing a MLB report with Codey and Uncle Paul. We'll have that for you on Wednesday as well. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you, John, Michelle, Mike, and Codey, once again for joining the Central Indiana Sports Report. And we want to thank the Tipton Municipal Golf Course once again for hosting us.
And we just want to remind everybody that James Johnson has more points in the finals than Jalen Brunson.
Oh.
That's raw. That's so nice.
That's a good one. That's a good fact to know. Also, it was good to see Spike Lee in the front row of the French Open the other day.
Yeah.
He had plenty of time to go watch some tennis.
Yeah. I hope everybody in New York's having a great time right now.
That's right. It was a fantastic French Open final. If you want more of this buffoonery, please subscribe to our YouTube page or at SoundCloud, Spotify, Amazon, or Apple Podcasts. Anything else? Anything I missed?
We got to thank producer Susie back down in Jeffersonville, and always have to remember, I haven't gotten to say this for a while, Greg loves Susie.
That's right. Hey, by the way, producer Susie, in the span of 2 days, put out a fire at work and then rescued 4 cats.
All right,
4
producer
wild
Susie.
cats. So she has always been my hero. Now she's an actual hero. I think there's something else I'm supposed to say that producer Susie always tells me to say, but I'm not sure what it is. Oh well. The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media, and as Michelle said, Greg loves Susie.